Sport in Wales podcast.
Supported by DragonBet.
Your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.
Hello and welcome to the Sport in Wales podcast, sponsored by DragonBet and co-founded by Alex Cuthbert and Gareth Anscombe. I'm Geraint Hardy and I'm here to keep the guests in check as we look forward to the Sport in Wales week. Please remember to click follow and thanks for listening to this podcast. And this week, joining us on the podcast, talkSPORT's Laurence Mora and Wales international, the man who put the Belgians to bed in that 3-1 win over Belgium in the Euros in 2016. It's Mr. Sam Vokes. A warm welcome to you both to the pod. Laurence, we'll come to you first. How are you, mate? Enjoying your Saturdays off?
No, bored. Desperately need some football. Sam, you need to get the boots back on, stop having holidays and taking the kids on the school run and start playing again. I just can't wait for the Euros to get started, to be honest. And just kind of get the football back on the telly and stuff. And although it will be with an aching heart with Wales not being there, and I think I get some quite pangs when watching Scotland run out against Germany this week. It'll be a little bit tough, but it looks like a wonderful tournament, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it hurts. The Scotland thing, I think, will hurt more than the England. I think watching Scotland, it will definitely be like, oh, that could have been us, definitely. Sam Vokes, welcome to the pod, mate. How are you? You okay?
Good morning, very well. And to counter Laurence, I'm enjoying a nice little break, mate, at the minute, which is very rare, but it's nice to have off a bit of time.
You've had quite a long summer, this one, yeah? This is quite a first time in a while, I'd imagine you've had kind of a block off.
Yeah, definitely. I think quite a rare one. I think being involved with Wales for 11, 12 years over the summers and the international camps lasting 2, 3, 4 weeks. Couple of playoff summers which eat into the summer as well, so no, this time has been a nice break, well earned, and getting ready to go back. 26th of June I'm back pre-season, so a couple more weeks.
Yeah, nice. So what have you been doing? How have you been relaxing?
How I've been relaxing? Well, I've got 2 young kids, 2 and 5. I've got 2 girls, so they take up most of the time. I was on the school run this morning. We had a little break, little holiday in May, but yeah, I'm back to pre-season running, they call it these days. So we're getting ready for pre-season. So we've got to do our work in the off season. We get tracked, and there's no hiding place. You're on Strava, and everyone sees it.
Oh dear me! If they see that you're not kind of doing your shifts, what do you get? A WhatsApp group message so they kind of show you up in front of everyone, or is it a direct message?
I've had a direct message already, but it was it was a positive one. So I have been doing my work. But I think they keep an eye on it and see what's going on.
Well, if the Strava's taking you to the pub, Sam, I mean that's where it fails, doesn't it?
Well, this is it, Laurence. You've got to learn to turn it off by that time. Stop recording.
Are you good with self-motivation, Sam?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of driven into you from a young age, I suppose. And look, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy a break at the end of the season, but when it's time to get ready and get back going again, I think it's that side of it. For the mental side as well, a little bit, when you're used to doing it 4 or 5 times a week training, and when you just stop completely, the body and the mind, it's just not used to it. So for me, it's quite nice to get up early in the morning, get it done, and ready for the day.
Yeah, so you're not kind of taking Jack Grealish and James Maddison's approach of booking like a month in Ibiza for Ocean Beach this summer?
Well, I wouldn't mind that one, to be totally honest with you. It looks like a great trip.
I'm not sure Mrs. Vokes will be too happy doing the school run on her own.
Exactly, yeah. No, those days are gone, I think.
Yeah, it happens to us all, doesn't it? I mean, but you know what, Sam? It's one of them things, isn't it? When people think of you, they do think of that kind of third goal in that Belgium game. Are you happy with that tag? Do you enjoy talking about it?
Oh, I love it, mate. Why not? It's probably my most proudest moment playing football. And yeah, what a moment it was. I think I'd get stopped a lot, especially in Wales when and on holiday when you bump into people. And no, I love talking about that moment. For me, it was, and for the country and everyone, it was what a night that was in Lille. And as you mentioned before, with the Euros coming up now, it's I think we'll all be a bit envious looking over and know what it could have been, because similar sort of tournament just over the water in France, and obviously this one in Germany, but. Yeah, it was an amazing time to be part of the Wales squad. That.
Yeah, Laurence, what's your memories of that night and that goal? Because for me, I remember Sam's goal was when the party could officially begin. Do you know what I mean? Because it was a 2-1, you're never safe against Belgium, but 3-1, we were like, yeah, we've done it. It was ecstasy, you know?
It was insane because obviously we were still kind of coming to terms with Hal's goal.
Yeah.
You know, like what on earth is happening here? And it wasn't just the it was a 3-1 win and that sealed it, but the performance was just incredible. I think it was really summed up in that "Don't Take Me Home" doc, where I think a couple of the players were just saying it just felt like we were just playing kind of everything was coming off, every move, every kind of little kind of 1-2, every touch was coming off, and it felt like that watching it. It felt comfortable, and it was such an odd feeling comfortable like that. But yeah, just incredible memories. And I know we get a little bit of stick from time to time from some of my mates in terms of, you're always harping back to it, but why not? That's, that was history being created, and I hope Wales have some great runs in the future, but we've always got that summer of 2016. Amazing.
Yeah. What are your memories of the day and the game itself then, Sam?
Well, it's funny because obviously it was my biggest moment, but I started on the bench that night. Obviously, Hal started up front, and it was a huge night. Obviously, look, we were playing. It felt like an away night, and I kind of, in football in general, I love away games. I probably prefer them more to home games, to be honest. I love that little crowd you've got in a corner sometimes, club and country, and it's like you're doing it for that group of fans that have travelled with you. And it felt like that night because we were on the border of Belgium, right? It was that kind of hostile atmosphere. And I remember warming up before the game, and I remember looking up and I spotted my old man and my brother and some family up in the away end. Well, I said the away end, in that corner, and almost dreaming of scoring in that end and celebrating with them. And it actually turned out perfectly that way. I've got pictures of me pointing up at the family, and yeah, I'll always remember my old man tearing down the terraces celebrating that third goal. It was like we were in the fans with him at that point.
Yeah, fantastic. So what was that, the fact you were on the bench, was that a disappointment for you at that stage? And then you were kind of eager to come on and prove yourself? Or what was kind of the dynamics of that?
Do you know what? Not really. If I go back over the tournament on a personal note, I was on the bench for the first 2 games of the group, so I didn't even come on. And obviously whatever happened against England in that second game, I was going into the Russia game thinking I might not get on the pitch in this tournament here if things don't go our way in Russia, against Russia. And then the gaffer pulled me and I was starting against Russia, so that was great. And for me, I know you talked about Belgium, Laurence, but Russia for me was
complete.
The best performance I've ever seen Wales playing, really. It was, everything just clicked that night, and it was like we just really arrived.
It was like FIFA football, that Sam, that day.
Yeah. Honestly,
even Neil Taylor was running down the wing, smashing goals.
Oh, he reminds us of that plenty of times.
Yeah.
And then Northern Ireland I started the Northern Ireland game, and it was cool. That couldn't have been any different. It was so edgy, both teams on the edge, and very two similar British teams just blocking each other out, really. And yeah, no, not really disappointment. The gaffer pulled me before the Belgium game, and it was just, I think we were all just riding the wave, really, of that we got Belgium. We sort of know we've got Belgium's card here because we've done them a few times over the last few group stages, and yeah, it all seemed to click that night.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Go on, Laurence. Go on.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was just going to say, because we talk about who's going to play where, and what have you, and trying to work out Page's different tactics and when Giggs came in. But it was pretty simple under Coleman, wasn't it? If we were going to go kind of wanted someone in to run in behind, it was Hal, and if we wanted somebody to hold the ball up, it was you, Sam, and then the rest of the team kind of picked itself. So maybe slightly unfair on sort of Dave Edwards and Andy King, but you know what I mean. It was kind of like that. That was the way it worked, really. So was that kind of communicated to you and Hal quite a lot as well?
Yeah, and do you know what? Chris Coleman was amazing for that, really. Look, some managers have had in the past kind of named the team an hour before a game, and it's kind of a shock. But especially when we're in France and when we travel away, Chris Coleman he'd ring you in your hotel room, and you'd kind of know what's coming. But he said, "Can you come down and have a coffee?" And he'd talk you through it. And you go and have a coffee with him in the restaurant or whatever at a hotel, and he'd talk you through what his reasons were. And it was, I don't want to say it was as simple as that, but sometimes it was. Look, we want to stretch him today. We're going to play Howe, and he's going to run in behind. We want to stretch the defence and create the room for Aaron or Gaz coming in behind. Or for me, it was like, look, I feel like we can go a bit longer, hit a diag into you, and we can get them around you. So sometimes it was as simple as that. But I think myself and Howe both bought into that sort of role, really, and it paid off.
And is that a conversation where you just listen to him, Sam, or do you kind of argue your point back and say, well, I can provide that if you need me to?
Yeah, look, I've had these discussions with managers over the years. There's some you listen to, there's some but you've got to respect the decision. I always think at the end of the day, he's the manager and that's his decision. And look, I didn't start the game against Belgium. So if I'd have argued that point, I might not have got on the pitch. And that's where my best moment came. So look, you deal with it. And I've always respected managers' decisions in terms of that because whenever I've sat on the pitch as a striker, I think it's a bit different if you're a defender, but as a striker, you can always come on and have that impact and have that moment to change a game or win the game or see a game out.
And speaking of instruction, Speaking of instructions, what did Coleman say to you when you came on? What did he want you to do in that kind of last period of the game? Keep the ball, probably.
I don't think it was for Chris Gunter to gallop down the sideline in the 85th minute and cross the ball, to be totally honest. I think it was a bit more compact. Me get out the pitch and try and hold the ball up and secure the 2-1 win. But before we knew it, Chris Gunter was galloping down the line and he crossed the ball from the byline. So I was more than happy with that. But no, I think the instruction was more just to try and keep it tight and keep the 2-1 win.
Yeah, and from that night, we know from certain ex-players, Joe Ledley being one of them, that you enjoyed the night after. You partied pretty hard. What are your memories of that night?
Yeah, I've got a lot of good memories from France. That night especially was very good.
Was the guitar out? Were you singing? What was people on tables?
Well, I know Owen Fon Williams was the guitar man, so he always had the guitar out. He was top with that. He was brilliant, and he always got the party started. And to be fair, Joe wasn't far behind him with the dancing. And you know what? I can't remember if it was that game or Northern Ireland, especially, but we had 5 or 6 days between the fixtures, and we'd hardly seen the families in between. And Chris Coleman said, I think it was Northern Ireland actually, because we were in Paris. Chris Coleman kind of said, look, I know all your families are staying in a different hotel in Paris. Get them all here. We'll all have a bite to eat and a drink together, and we can all see each other before we go back up to Dinard and get away and camp again. So, you know, it was great for that because it wasn't just the players at times; it was all the families and my parents and friends and families. Got great memories of that time as much as I have.
Yeah, fantastic. Who did you room with? Was it the same person throughout the tournament?
Yeah, my roommate was always Andy King. We were quite close. We roomed for years. So, yeah, we were roommates out there as well.
What makes him a good roommate, or is he not a good roommate?
What makes him a good roommate? I'd say a bit of both. We're both good at teas and coffee runs. And, yeah, we enjoy some box sets together because there's a lot of time, trust me, when you're on these international camps where you're spending in the room. So, no, we got on well.
Yeah, good. Laurence, were you out there for the whole summer for that, or what was kind of your schedule?
No, I sort of dipped in and out a little bit, really. So, I was devastated for the Russia game. I was back home in Chepstow. So I remember watching it, and I kind of sums up Chepstow really is that because of the sports bar, I had several different TVs. So England were playing at the same time, weren't they? I remember coming down the stairs in the pub, and there was one person sat watching the England game there, and his mate was sat there watching the Wales game that way. So it was a good night, certainly for those of us supporting the boys in red, because we finished above England in the group. So that was really fun. But no, it was dipping kind of in and out of the country really in terms of work wise. I missed the Slovakia game because I was back home. I was working at England Test match in London. So yeah, it was some great memories. But the Lille one is the one that just lives forever. Walking back through the station, and the Belgian fans. You said it felt like an away game, Sam. But yeah, walking back through the station and them just applauding us as fans. It was just such a lovely experience the entire summer. So yeah, warm tingles whenever that. And actually, kind of. It was interesting what you were saying there with the away games, Sam, because I think I remember kind of going through Europe and sort of interviewing you in various weird and wonderful countries of and post-match mix zones and things like that. And yeah, your team, that squad always had such a belligerent kind of attitude to those away games. It was that sort of will not pass type thing. So it was great watching how those crowds built and the sort of support built through those years to get to where it is now. And just the connection between you guys and the fans that kind of developed over the last kind of five years really, up to when you finished playing. And yeah, it was great to see.
Were you aware, Sam, of the buzz at home? Were you reading kind of newspapers and social media and stuff while you were in the Euros, or were you kind of avoiding it completely?
Do you know what? I'm not one for social media much. I've not got Twitter or anything, so I don't actually see much personally. but you are aware. It's impossible not to be aware, I suppose. You are in your own little bubble. We're in Dinard, small little town. It was quite weird actually, because we'd fly into these places to play the games, and you'd suddenly see thousands of Wales fans everywhere. Like, just as far as the eye can see, there was red. But we'd fly in from this small town in the north of Brittany, and honestly, it was like, it was worlds apart from what it was in these big cities where all the games are going on. So it's quite nice to have that difference. And we could walk into the village. I remember the village took us on as Welsh. There was Welsh flags flying throughout the town, and it was an amazing place to be, actually. And I'd like a reunion back there one day. We keep saying it between the group. It'd be great to go back to Dinard or somewhere like that and have a bit of a reunion. But yeah, it was quite strange because we had both sides of the coin.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because that's what exactly was on my mind. 2026 is not far away. You need to do a 10-year trip and all the boys go to Dinard, no cameras, just go there and enjoy yourselves on your own,
I mean, I'm all over it. Yeah, it sounds great.
Who's the organiser? Who would organise that out of everyone?
Who would organise that? I'd put it down to Skip. It's got to be Ashley Williams who organises that, I think. Get the band back together.
Yeah, there you go. That's an official baton pass to
James
Ashley.
Collins leading the charge, I think, as well, by the sounds of it. I don't know if you heard him on his recent Under the Cosh podcast. There was some good little stories in there about Euro 2016, that's for sure.
Yes, yeah, he enjoyed himself.
he does wherever he goes, I think, to be honest with you.
So, yeah.
I suppose the younger generation now, sadly, they've been spoilt. This heartbreak they're feeling right now is something they've never, ever experienced before, Laurence. How do you feel, and how are you looking after these two friendlies about where we are as terms of a squad now for Wales going forward?
Thanks, mate. I'm just getting all warm and fuzzy about 2016.
But
come back to reality.
We've got to at one point, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's a really tricky one. Obviously, look, the failure to qualify for this summer's tournament. No, we shouldn't expect to qualify for every single tournament. I think that, that is an expectation that will never be fulfilled. However, the manner of it against Poland as well, I just thought we were so dominant. And after about 20 minutes, it felt like that Polish team didn't have anything to offer. We were playing pretty well. And I just think that we could have been a bit more positive with it from that position. And maybe Rob Page is kicking himself a little bit looking back at it, because maybe if he'd have been a bit more positive with it and gone after Poland, then it would have got done in maybe in normal time or maybe in extra time. But to then go and lose by the penalty kick, I think it grates a lot of the fans I speak to. Rob's assertion that we were a penalty kick away from the Euros grates with the fans, because certainly the ones that saw us only take 1 point from 6 against Armenia and 1 point from 6 against Turkey. That's where we didn't qualify for the Euros. That was they were the moments, really. So yeah, I think he's got a bit of a hard job on his hands at the moment, Rob, convincing the fans that he is the man to take them forward, which is maybe a little bit unfair given what he's done and the success that he's had as a manager for Wales and the joy he's brought in terms of the World Cup qualification and that sort of thing. So it is a tricky situation, I think, at the moment. We'll see what the FAW do with it, because I think, I think as any sort of footballer knows, if the chairman, or in this case the CEO, is coming under pressure, there's usually only one winner in that. Yeah, and it's not usually the manager.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it, Sam? Because we've been stronger together, and hearing boos is something we're not really used to the last decade or so. So as a player, how does that affect players when you hear your own fans booing you?
Yeah, I think from a Wales point of view, it was tough to hear that, really, especially from the recent success. Look, fans are entitled to their opinion, and they're just as frustrated as I'm sure the players and the staff are, because it's been a tough couple of months. I think the group stages wasn't ideal from our point of view. I think you touched on there that the points we dropped were huge, and that's the reason we didn't get there. I went down to the playoff semi-final, and I thought that was as well as we've played for a long time. I didn't see the Poland game, I watched it on TV, but it was very frustrating. I think that group of lads will be hurting. You touched on before in the first question, like will they be kind of hurting and bruised? I think they will be, because that expectation's there. That expectation's there from the fans, from themselves. We've been to tournaments, we've got a feel for tournament, and we want to get back there. And that's where you want to be playing. But it's not that easy. There's teams in the way, and it will be hurting. And look, I've felt that from a Wales point of view. We talked about Euro 2016, but it wasn't all rosy for that group of players. In the early years, there were some tough times. We experienced, well, not qualifying for a tournament at all, and kind of being out of tournaments before the group stages even got started, really, in many stages, and suffering some bad losses away. You'll remember the Serbia one for me, 6-1. That sticks out massively in my head, really, and that was kind of a turning point for us as a group of players at that stage. But I think I hope this group will learn from this. It's a young group. You look at the Gibraltar lineup, especially. That shows the transition we're in as a country and a team at the minute. And I hope, unfortunately, sometimes you have to learn from these bad results, and I hope they do learn from it.
Yeah,
Can I just, sorry,
No,
can I
go
just
on.
dive in
Yeah,
a
of
bit?
course you can. Yeah.
And only because you use the word transition, Sam. And I know it is winding up Wales fans that I speak to about Rob Page using it. Do you feel we are a team in transition? And I suppose the reason that a lot of the fans put that we're not a team in transition is because that nucleus of the team is pretty much the nucleus of the team for the last 2 years, but obviously without Gaz and without Joe Allen. Obviously Wayne's kind of moving on as well in terms of age and starting matches. So and then behind it, the squad players tend to be are kind of a little bit older, like your Josh Sheehan's and what have you, rather than youngsters, which you guys were kids when Toshak and Flinney were pushing you guys through.
Yeah, no, I think I use the word transition because for me, although there are a lot of lads in there with a lot of caps and experience, the transition from, you mentioned literally 3 players there: Joe Allen, Gareth Bale, and Wayne Hennessy. Those sort of players were huge. Like, you're talking about the greatest player for Wales ever, not just on the pitch, leader off the pitch, and it creates a whole different feeling sometimes when he was on the pitch, Gareth, and in his flow state. And I think that is a huge transition in terms of where we are as a nation. We've got great players as a group. I don't think we've got that individual sometimes that can go and turn it for us in a game and can go and win us the game. When Gareth was in his peak, we had a great team, but sometimes we were just staying in the game and he would find a way to win it for us. And sometimes that Poland game might have been that. We might have been 0-0 for a long time and he'd come up with a bit of magic and turn the game for us. And that's why I think I mentioned transition, because I think it's probably affected us more than we thought when Gareth retired. And I look at that squad the other night, and the lack of caps against Gibraltar especially is probably why I mentioned the transitional period. I know you mentioned when we came through with Toshak, a lot of us got thrown in at the deep end and was kind of 18, 19, and we'll give you 20 caps to try and get that experience and we'll take a hit as a nation. It paid off in the end. But no, you have got that nucleus. I look at the likes of Ampadu now that have reached 50 caps, and it's amazing at such a tender age. But I think they've still got a lot to learn away from Gareth Bale and Joe Allen, really.
So do you think that's like the transition is maybe needs to be vocalized to the fans in a different way, like as much off because I thought that was really interesting what you're saying, that as much off the field as on it and in and around the camp, if you like.
Yeah, maybe. Look, I'm not in and around the camp, so
No.
So I don't see how those voices reflect in the dressing room and in camp during the week. But I knew that people like Joe Allen and Gareth Bale, they might not have been the most vocal, but they would lead by example in training every day. Honestly, they were some of the best players I've seen. Joe Allen, one of the greatest midfielders I've played with, and does a lot of his work in the unseen jobs, really. But on a match day, he's there and will be a huge influence on the squad. So, yeah, I think at the minute it's building up to a Nations League where things need to change and results need to reflect that, I think.
Does it take time to bed into international football, Sam? Is or is it different to club football? So, obviously, Laurence mentioned there that when you guys were all bedded in and given your chance, people, when Wales were then, doing well in 2016 and the last few years we've had, said, well, we bled them into the team, we're young and they've had all this experience. So how important is it that they get exposed in games like Gibraltar, even though the result does hurt?
The results do hurt, and sometimes they hurt even more on international duty, I think, because you've not got, in club football, you sometimes play Saturday, Tuesday, and you've got time to go straight again. We've got to reflect on this result now till September, and this count till September. So in terms of international, where does it differ? I think you're very good mates with those people because you spend a lot of time with them, but then you go away for 6 weeks, 2 months, maybe 3 months, and then you've got to come back within a week and get used to playing styles and personalities and back used to playing as a unit, really. And that's tough sometimes. And maybe that's the experience that it takes more than just the games. But I know Wales do that a lot with the camps, with the young lads. They go on camps and try and get used to each other. So there's a lot that comes into it, I think, that comes to international football. And we've been riding high for a while, and we're going through a little bit of a period where we just need to settle it a little bit and get back to winning ways.
Yeah. Friendlies, Sam. I've never played professional football or professional sport, right? But there's definitely got to be a difference in the mindset when it comes. It's a friendly to a match. I know fans have said, I've spoken to a few fans as well this week, and they've said, I don't care, they're playing for Wales, you should be giving it 100%. But for me, I'm saying that they won't. It's a friendly. They've got other things on their mind, other things they've got to worry about. They won't naturally give 100%. And I don't know if that's a fair statement or not, and how honest you want to be about that.
No, for me, international friendlies might be different to club friends. I feel when you're representing your country, you're representing your country, and that is an honour at any level, whether it's a friendly or it's the World Cup final. I feel like it's an honour. But I will counter that in the last game and say they've gone from Poland, where they were playing in front of 35,000 home fans, and it was an unbelievable atmosphere. And even I'm watching the Gibraltar game on TV, and it looked like a training game. There was no one in the stadium. It was a completely different feel. That we dominated the game, but at the end of the day, we didn't hit the back of the net, so we drew the game, and it wasn't a good enough performance to validate a win, I suppose. But don't get me wrong, there is a difference, and we've gone out there with a completely different team and feel going into the game. But there is a difference. But for me, whenever you're wearing the national kit, it's an honour, and you should replicate that.
Laurence, do you think it'd have been different, our kind of conversation right now, if the Slovakia result had been better? We'd kind of let the Gibraltar one slide a bit, or not?
That's a good question. So I think the Gibraltar one, just to go into that, I think some players actually played themselves out of international football rather than played themselves into it.
Okay, who?
I think I don't think that's hugely fair of my to call people out on that. I think it just showed that between the gap between that squad and then the really talented youngsters who are coming through in the 21s, that there's a gap there between players who are ready to go and play international football. And I think that's where Rob's kind of issue is with his squad at the moment. He either takes out those players that are around the periphery that played in that Gibraltar game and maybe don't look quite ready for international football. And he says, listen, thanks very much. That's great. We're going to move on. And he brings in those 18, 19, 20-year-olds, like, Charlie Crew becomes part of the squad. Kumas, some of those younger ones, even going sort of younger, like Biancheri and what have you, from the 19s. And you just go, right, okay, come on, in you go. And that's it. And we're going to work with you guys. Because sorry, I don't mean to be a sort of single Josh Sheehan out here, because what a great lad he is and what a great career he's had. But like at 28, 29, is he going to offer Wales a decade of performances? No, not really. So do we fill the squad with those type of players, or do we just go young, really young, and have those guys coming through? And I think that's what Rob's really got to do. I think that's where it would feel like a proper transition for Wales fans, if we're going to use that word. And that's where they could go, okay, look at this squad. Like the whole team there was under the age of 25, because there were a lack of caps in the Gibraltar game, but there was Jay Da Silva, who's 26, Sheehan 29, Liam Cullen's 25, 26. Like these guys are kind of coming up towards their actual sort of peaks, or have already potentially heading towards the latter stages of their careers. So it's not a real youth side. It was a side with a lack of cap, but it wasn't a really youth side.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Lewis Kumas looked great though. He had some, he's got a big future, Sam, surely.
Yeah, it looks very sharp. He's got a great future. I mean, he's got great pedigree as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, I played alongside his dad years ago when I was first coming through, and he was honestly, some of the things he did in training, he was so talented. But you can see against Gibraltar, even just that snapshot, he's so sharp around the box, and for me, you need that bit of luck, don't you? You just need that to go the other side of the post, and that's your first cap and your first goal when you're up and running. But look, it looks like he's got a lot of potential, and it's great to see him in and around the squad, and hopefully can get some more caps coming up in the Nations League coming up.
Yeah, forget about any coach. I'd be petrified if he was my dad. He'd be drilling him every day, no doubt about it. I mean, he'd be pushing Lewis hard for sure, Sam.
I know he would be. We've got a few sons of ex-players coming through in a minute, and I wonder, how much they get on the park with them, or it's more the club giving them the tuition. But they're coming from good stock anyway, which is good.
Yeah, definitely.
Fascinating at the moment, isn't it? It does seem like we've got a kind of whole kind of range of ex-players from the early noughties having children and becoming professionals.
Yes, yeah. Well, I played against Charlie against Reading this season, and I mentioned to Robbie when I was down at the Wales game, and he told him to give me a little elbow, I think, during the game. But we got it better than that day against Reading, so I was happy.
Yeah. So are your daughters then? Are we signing up ready for Wales in about
exactly that
time, mate? Happy days. Yes. Good.
Let's hope so, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Why not? I mean, I think it's fantastic. It's great. Just go back to page quickly then, Laurence. What do you want to happen next? Because we know what the fans want. FAW haven't said anything. I personally feel it would be really harsh to get rid of a manager after these two friendlies. I think if they wanted to make the change, they should have done it before these friendlies. But where do you sit on this one?
I tend to agree with yourself on that, Geraint. I think if you back the man after the Poland game, and you say he's our man and he's going to take us into the Nations League, to then off the back of two friendlies that players don't necessarily 100% want to be at, we're missing a whole host of the senior players, and we're playing against the Slovakia team who are really good and just off to a Euros. It feels a little bit unfair to do it on that, but I think that's maybe the FAW boxed themselves into a corner there a little bit with it. So 2016, obviously, apart from a few of the tournaments, we're never actually that good in this summer. We're far better in the autumn. We're a really, really strong side in the autumn. So I can see us, whether Rob Page is in charge or not, I can see us really challenging the three teams that we've got: Iceland, Montenegro, and Turkey, and having a right old scrap and potentially even winning that Nations League group. I wouldn't be surprised at that. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I think that that's a bad skew on a bad take on it, because there were some really good performances in the autumn leading into the games in March and the playoff games. So yeah, I think they should have done it already if they were going to move on. I understand the clamour from some of the fans for it, so glad I'm not making the decision. Was that enough fence sitting?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think it's one of them, really, because I think so many people in Wales, and I'm counting myself in this as well, we all know someone in the squad, or we're all involved with the FAW to some, so everyone's a little bit scared to kind of really put their opinion out there. Do you know what I mean on this?
Yeah, well, I think it's more that I can see what Rob's trying to do, and I actually think he deserves more credit than he gets. I think people are a little bit too down on him. I think he took over in a really, really tricky situation with Giggs' situation for the FAW. He made life for the FAW really easy because he smoothed into that role. Really easy transition. The players got behind him because he's a great bloke and played for him. And then, got us to World Cup qualification, and you could say, oh, Gareth Bale did that or what have you. But no, come on, look, it's a whole team effort, and the manager is right at the heart of that.
Yeah, end of the day, Sam, Laurence, if we beat Turkey at home and they get a draw against Montenegro in the Nations League, Page is all good, right? In football, that's what happens.
Yeah, no, totally, and that's how quickly things can change. It's been a bad week for Wales, but I don't think you can judge Page on this last week. I personally think he's still the right man. I think he should be in the job. I think he's had a lot to deal with in terms of the squad over the last year or so. And that word transition I mentioned before, but it's loosely used, but I do think it's a huge thing, especially in international football. And I worked with Page, he was assistant under Giggs before he obviously took charge, and I really like him. I know the lads really like him. I haven't spoken to people that are still in the squad. And they want to play for him. And you see the other day he come out and he took the blame for himself, and you see people like Ampadu saying, no, it's not his fault, we put it on ourselves a little bit. So you can see there is that unity there between the squad and the staff and the manager as well.
Whose fault is it? Like, it's always that kind of conversation. The players need to take responsibility, and the coach has, no, it's my responsibility. Whose fault is it, Sam?
Whose fault is it? That is the $1 million question.
The TV companies for making us play Gibraltar, Slovakia, when everybody wants to go on bloody holiday.
Yeah, there we go. I'll go with that one.
Yeah. I mean, they could have just cancelled these matches, really, in a way. They could have done that. Do you know what I mean? I know they were there in prep for us to go to the Euros, but maybe it's done more damage than good, potentially. But it's happened now. There we go. Right, let's turn our attention quickly away from Wales to you, Sam. Wycombe for another season next year?
Wycombe for another season, yes. Yeah, very much looking forward to it. Been a bit of change at Wycombe over the last month or so. Don't know how much you've seen, but we've got new owners and moved training grounds and things. So it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to it another year. We finished the season very well. It was a disappointing season overall, but we finished the season very strongly. I think the gaffer got manager of the month for the last month. So there was a few changes towards the end, and looking forward to going back and having a go this year.
So the new training ground, will that be like first day back at a new school kind of thing?
It will be, yeah. Looking forward to it. It's moved locations. I think it's QPR's old training ground, so it's near Heathrow. Yeah. I'm sure it's a good facility. I've not been there myself yet, but first day of pre-season is always a funny one. You get your new kit, your new training ground. It'll be a completely different place. So, yeah.
Have you got the postcode? Is that going to be an excuse if you're late? Does everyone know where it is?
Well, it is if I've got to go on the M25 this time. Tackle the M3 and the M25 from where I live. So.
No.
It should be an interesting first morning. I better give it a bit more time. Yeah,
give it an extra half an hour or so. Okay, cool. Let's turn our attention now to Dragon Bet, a man we were talking about Jack Grealish and James Maddison earlier. This is a man, when he goes to Ibiza, he's got all the VIP tables. It's James Level from Dragon Bet.
Dragon Bet, the bookmaker of Wales with the best odds on Welsh sport. Please gamble responsibly.
James, how you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I can see you in shorts there for people who aren't watching. I think you should have VIP tables. Those legs, look at them.
Hey, mate, I've got the skinniest legs in the world, but these legs have graced Ocean Beach. My stag do was in Ibiza in Ocean Beach, so but those days are gone now. You've been to Ibiza, James? I bet you have.
I have, with the family though. I don't fancy getting my man boobs out on Ocean Beach. I think I'll get chucked out of there. So yeah, definitely not. I'd rather be at a race course somewhere.
You'd give Wayne Lineker a run for his money. You would.
How we doing? We okay, guys?
Really good, James. How are you?
Good. Managed to take a few quid off Laurence last time I saw him at Chepstow. So yeah, nice to see you again, Lau. That money's been well spent.
You did catch up, yeah?
Desperately tried to give me so many good odds. Every time he came, oh God, I'll give you a little bit more on that. And I still lost.
So take a horse to water.
Yes.
Do you know what? Alex Cuthbert is the man for odds, because I think when Alex says something, James kind of panics a little bit and thinks he's going to try and take some money.
I know he's too good, Alex. He is. He's pretty good. I'm desperate to try and win a few quid off him, but I keep failing trying. But I'll keep going anyway.
Yeah, Sam, I know you can't bet on football and stuff, but do you enjoy other sports as well?
I do enjoy other sports. Yes, yeah. A bit of horse racing and the golf as well. At the minute is every weekend, so it's exciting. Yeah.
Okay, so do you play a bit of golf? What's your handicap?
I do play a bit of golf. Yes, a lot less golf than I used to with young kids, but I play off about 16.
16.
Like that.
Do you know what?
I'd say 8.
Yeah, I saw Joe Ledley and Danny Gabbard the other day, and Joe Ledley be on the golf course again. He struggles, but he from time to time. But he was so chuffed because he'd kept the ball for the whole round, and he was like, "I played really well, guy." Do you know what I mean? But Danny Gabbard, he's playing really well at the moment, apparently. So you have to get together with them for a game.
A lot. We used to play up at the Vale a lot. I mean, Gareth used to negotiate the afternoons we could get off to play golf. So somehow we used to wangle a 6-ball, and 6 of us used to go around in the golf carts. But yeah, it was a good time.
So Bale, we all know, is kind of like, he's a really good golfer. He's like off scratch pretty much, right? So who are the other kind of really low handicap golfers in the Welsh team?
We kind of used to play in rooms. So we used to play rooms against each other. Like I said before, I was with Andy King. Who used to go? Joe and Wayne used to go together, and Aaron and Gareth, together. So yeah, it was kind of rooms against each other at the time.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I think it's every boy's dream, playing at the Vale Glamorgan Hotel, kind of on the golf course there, and then bumping into the Welsh team having a practice round on the course. Do you know what I mean? So did members stop you and have pictures with you when you were playing, or did they leave you to it?
No, I think they're probably used to us because we were there all the time. So it's kind of one of those. But yeah, we used to just hide behind Gareth, and he'll get all the photos, and we'll just carry on playing golf.
Yeah, look for your balls in the bushes.
Just up with Page to be sacked. Well, Page not to be in charge for the Turkey game. So we got him at 4-5. It's been really popular, actually. So all the fans are thinking he's not going to be there. Just a shade of odds on. We were thinking even money, but yeah, shade of odds on for him not to be in charge for the first game. At the Nations League against Turkey, really, really popular. I think it's going to hold for the next, maybe this morning. I think we have to slash the odds. Personally, I think he still will be in charge, but public definitely want to bet for him not to be there.
Okay, so if you've got that on your website, I take it then you've got potential names to take over from Page as options as well?
That's coming this morning. We're just discussing. We're going to have Ocean as favourite. We're going to have Coops as second favourite. Bellamy as third favourite. We're just trying to work out how to price them up. I'm going to ask you guys, actually, any other runners outside those three?
Well, I think Oshan's kind of the one the fans are shouting for.
Yeah.
I mean, Bellamy. What's going to happen next with Bellamy? Is he going to Munich? I'm not sure what's going on with that. No, he's not. No,
not going to Munich. But I think he's taken Burnley's he's standing in, I suppose, at the moment while Burnley figure out their next move. But yeah, I think it's time for Craig to stand on his own 2 feet as a manager. I think take that moment. He's been the assistant. He's done his badges. You'll probably know better than me, Sam, but he's known as a bit of a good tactician and really kind of a student of the game, if you like. So it'd be really interesting to see where his next move is.
Yeah, did it surprise you to see him go into management, Sam, or assistant manager?
No, not at all. Obviously, played alongside him for a long time, and he was a big character in the dressing room, and was always very, very tactical and led a lot by example, I suppose, as a player. So it'd be interesting to see what he does as a coach. But I know, obviously, a lot of friends up at Burnley and speak very highly of himself and company. And it'd be interesting to see if he takes over pre-season and how that goes for him at Burnley, because it doesn't seem like they're talking about anyone taking over at the minute.
Yeah, I'd like to see him given a shot there, Laurence. I think he could do a job, right?
Yeah, why not? And like you say, he sort of demands a respect for his playing career. He probably demands a respect for his coaching career and his knowledge of the game. So why not? And like you're saying there doesn't seem to be any whispers when you hear and you're listening out, and are they talking to this person or that person, or this manager's being linked with them? There's no rumors knocking about Burnley. So maybe they're taking a quiet look at Craig and chatting to him and just seeing how he kind of handles his situation now in terms of maybe giving him the job full time. But I think it'd be a great start for him. It's a very stable club with a good squad, and they'll go into the Championship looking really strong. So it's a great place for him to start, I think.
Have you got any odds on the Nations League yet for Wales, or is that going to come further down the line for Wales?
It's a little way off. We got odds on them to win the group. So 9-4 to win the group, or 4-1 to finish bottom. Turkey are 11-10 to win the group, so they're probably obvious favourites, but Wales be second best. So I think that's a fair bet, actually. 9-4 if they beat Turkey. Is theirs for the taking, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. And I wouldn't be surprised if Wales actually, in Cardiff City Stadium, full house or near to full. We can do a job in Turkey, that's for sure. It'd be nice if we could kind of change the narrative that's currently happening. Anything else for us to pay attention to, James?
Outside that, we've gone early with all the Welsh teams for next season. So Wycombe are 25-1, actually, Sam. And our Welsh team, they're 25-1 to win your league, in case you're interested. We got Cardiff at 40-1 to win. I'll tell you what, Laurence, tell me these are good bets. Sam, you can't say. Cardiff to win the league, 40-1. Good, bad?
Give me 500-1.
500-1. Swansea are also 40. We got Cardiff 8-1 to be relegated. we have got Cardiff 7-1 to do the double over Swansea. Good bet, bad bet.
Oh, I'd take that. I'll back that.
Would you?
What?
Yeah.
But if you
Cardiff
said it the
through
other
and
way, I'm not surprised. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
As in,
yeah.
it can go either way, them games.
Wrexham, we got them 12-1 to win the league, 6-4 to be top 6, or Mullin to score 24 or more goals, 3-1. So I don't know how many he scored last year.
Why have you got 24 goals or more? Why not 20?
I don't know. Why not? Good question. We'll put it in for 20 as well. I don't know why they come up with 24, but they have 24 or more goals, 3-1.
Okay. It's going to be really interesting, that, isn't it? Sam, are you looking forward to playing Wrexham?
I think my wife was more looking forward to us playing Wrexham than
She wants a box next door to Ryan, does she?
Exactly that, yeah. She wants to see if the lads, Ryan and the boys, come down to Adams Park. But yeah, no, it'll be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to going back up there. I've not played at the racecourse since I was there with the 21s years ago under Brian Flynn. So look forward to going back up there and seeing the change.
Will it kind of, because they've got all this attention, does it make you as a team want to beat them more, do you think?
I suppose a little bit. It's great for the league to have them in the league and the publicity that's going on. And do you know what? I'm delighted for them watching the documentaries and seeing the struggles that Wrexham had over the years. It's amazing, isn't it? It's great to see the town vibrant and flying. So personally, I'm looking forward to going up there and playing in that game. But no, I suppose it's just like any other game. You go into it as any other game, but no, it should be a good game. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, be interesting.
Not sure about the 12-1 and the 25-1 difference with you, though. But
if only you could bet, Sam.
So Wycombe going to be investing, Sam? We got the Kazakhstan billionaire who's now owner of you guys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm not sure. We've not done an investing as such yet. They talked about infrastructure, and we haven't got an academy, so they're looking to build that. But I don't know squad-wise. We'll see what is to come. But who knows? We might have a similar documentary crew come in at some point.
You're going to be a superstar in Kazakhstan, Sam. That's what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What more do you want?
Have you met him, Sam?
Not yet. No. It's happened over the summer while we've been away. So we might be in. I'm sure we'll see him in pre-season at some point.
Yeah, nice. Bow your head and ask for a pay rise.
Gotta be done.
Knocking on the door.
James, wicked mate. What's the plans for you this week? You busy anywhere?
We're going to Bath again on Saturday for Ladies' Day. So loving a Ladies' Day at the moment. Plenty of racing going on. Just bought some new pitches. I bought a new pitch of Glorious Goodwood. So spent a few quid. Business keeps growing. So just hope that the favourites don't win for me, Gav, as I come and move in with you and those lovely legs.
Sam, thanks for your time today, mate. Have you done all your training for the day? No more kind of pre-season stuff today? You can relax the rest of the day?
No. I've school run straight into this podcast, so I'm off there now. I'm going to go down the pitches and do a bit of work now.
All right. Thank you both for you. Sam, thanks for your time. Laurence, thanks for your time. Have a great week, whatever you're up to. And Sam, massive luck, big luck with the new owners and the new setup at Wycombe.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Okay, there we go. We're all set for another sporting week in Wales. Thank you for your company, Sam and Laurence. Remember, we'll be back next Monday for more Sport in Wales chat. And you can follow us on our socials. Just search Sport in Wales. Tell your friends about us and share the love. And we'll catch you next week, wherever you go, wherever you are. Enjoy your Sport in Wales week.
Sport in Wales podcast.
Supported by DragonBet.
Your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.